Rabbi Friedman. Hello, thank God it's Tuesday. As I just said to our listeners, our community is going through a really rough period right now. And reason being is that one, especially the spiritual um, community, Russian speaking, because a very, very dear, very loved, very incredible rabbi who is sort of like the counterpart of Rabbi Gordon in our community, who has been doing daily studies, recordings, and everybody studies with him, and he does so many live classes and online classes, and just one of the most incredible teachers we have. Unfortunately, got very bad news about his health, and we're all praying very, very hard for him. His name is Dovber Beitman, incredible rabbi. You actually met him at the Russian Shabbatons as well, and absolutely amazing rabbi. So this, of course, brings us back to the topic that we cover a lot, but I know this is the topic that you have spoken about extensively, is why bad things happen to good people. And it's been just so hard to see so many amazing people, not just spiritual leaders like uh, Rabbi Eli Schlanger from Australia or Rabbi Tzvi Kogan from Dubai, who have been doing amazing things for their communities and unfortunately paid a terrible price. And now it's just with everything that is happening in the world, and to see leaders who are such amazing, such giving, so special, so needed, are being, I don't want to say punished. What is it that we're seeing? What is it?
Isn't that an amazing question? What are we seeing? We're seeing it and we don't know what we're seeing. What a strange phenomenon. But we're smart enough, intelligent enough, and mature enough to know that we don't know what we're seeing. We're looking at something and it. So I just want to mention this concept. Moshe, greatest, possibly, the greatest Jew ever, was reincarnated, came back for a second life in the person of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva was the soul of Moshe, back for a second life. A number of similarities between them. They both started later in life. Their leadership came later in life. They both lived to be 120. And they both gave the Jewish people the Torah. Moshe gave us the written Torah. Rabbi Akiva gave us the oral Torah. You would think that Moshe's soul didn't need to come back a second time. But he didn't accomplish enough good in his lifetime? The reason he came back is because his death was a non-event. He went up the mountain, and that's all. We never saw him again. We don't know where he's buried. We can't find it. We weren't there when he passed away. Rabbi Akiva, on the other hand, had a martyr's death. And it's spoken about to this day. To have that martyr's death was reason enough to come back for another entire lifetime. I don't know what's so good about dying a martyr's death. I don't know. I don't know any death that's really good and worth coming back for. But there is something to it. You live a righteous life, but then you die. Or you live a righteous life and then you die a righteous death. Even your death contributes to the goodness of the world. Is that important? It seems like there is some importance to it. That it's actually a gift. That even your death makes the world a better place. So is it a punishment to die al Kiddush Hashem? It's obviously not a punishment. Why it's so good and valuable, I don't understand. But I guess it's true. So we're not questioning why there's death, which is a very good question, by the way. Why is there death in the world at all? Who needs it? So we're not questioning why people die. We're questioning the way, the circumstances. So a student asked me right after the Bandai event, they were preparing for Hanukkah, they were getting ready to do a mitzvah, and they die like that? How is that justified? As if to say, had they died without Hanukkah, it would have been better. Why, they died while getting ready for Hanukkah? So to us, the observers, we don't understand. But to the rabbi, to Rabbi Schlanger, does it make a difference to him that he died while preparing for Hanukkah? Yeah, it makes a big difference. Because it is so much better to die while preparing for Hanukkah than to get hit by a truck on a regular day, right? So yeah, it makes a big difference. The circumstances of birth are very significant. The circumstances of death are significant. So if a person is meant to die, can he at least die and accomplish something by dying? Does death have to be just an end? The answer is no. Death can be a really big blessing to the world. And we see this all the time. You know, people who ignore their parents, don't want to hear from them, have no time for their parents, for as long as the parents are alive. When the parents die, all of a sudden it's, what would dad want? What did he stand for? What did he believe in? How should we do? All of a sudden, he's a real father. And his children are concerned. So death can bring very good things. Not that that's what you die for, but if you're going to die, everybody would want their death to be a significant one, a meaningful one. So if we're asking why do the righteous die, we're not asking why there's death. We're just saying that some people don't deserve to die, which is not true. Some people deserve to die a righteous death. So asking why the righteous suffer, it's how they suffer. That would make sense. In this world, there is suffering. Now, the righteous should suffer righteously, and the evil should suffer evilly. So the answer is, we look at the events and we know that we're not seeing it right. We're at least mature enough for that. We're not seeing it right. It can't be just what the eye sees. We've come a long way. It's to our credit that we even ask that question.
Rabbi Friedman, what about the death? Yeah, that's like the ultimate and I guess at least for the loved ones and for those who care. I don't know what happens to the person who goes. But even during this lifetime, things have changed a lot as well. So before, as we read in the Torah, it seems that the financial blessings were blessings. They were actually given to the people who deserve them. What is happening now? How do we view this?
Yeah. How do we know who deserves, who doesn't deserve? It's a nice concept, deservingness. And it's true. But it's very hard to judge without all the information. What came before, what's coming after, we don't know. But I had this conversation with a woman who claimed to be an atheist and was very proud of it. You know, she was an atheist like I was a ballet dancer. But she claimed to be an atheist. Anyway, her brother, who was really the matriarch of the family, passed away. Very young age. She was devastated. Months and months later, she was still going on about why him? He was so good. So eventually I said to her, you know, you can't ask that question because you're an atheist. You don't get to ask that question. You're giving atheists a bad name. What do you mean, why him? He was a good man. What's being good got to do with it? The doctor told you he had a bad heart. A good man with a bad heart, so he died from a heart attack. What are you asking? If you don't believe in God, then what's the difference whether a righteous guy suffers or a bad guy suffers? Who says there should be a difference? The only reason we ask that question is because we're convinced that righteousness is rewarded and evil is punished. So when it looks like a righteous person is being punished, we got a good question. But if there's no reward and punishment, if there is no God, what are you asking? Why did your brother have a bad heart? I don't know. Genetics, maybe. I don't know. Maybe he didn't eat healthy. Whatever. He didn't jog. So, as observers, like you say, I don't know these people. I don't feel personally connected to those people. But I have a question. Why is there suffering in the world? Good question. If you didn't have that question, you wouldn't be a decent human being. Do we have an answer? We don't have an answer. Should we then be indifferent and quit asking the question? No. No, we have to demand of God to enlighten us. Why? Where's the justice? Where's the goodness? Where's the purpose? Why should a young man who can do so much good for people, why should he die? We don't understand. But we know why we don't understand. Because I don't know why he died. I don't know why he was born. I don't know what came before. I don't know what's going to come after. So all I can do is ask God to enlighten us. Make your judgment something we can appreciate. That's the right reaction and the right approach. Now, will prayer change anything? You said everybody's praying for him. Oh, will that do anything? Well, there are two things. Number one, we are told that prayer brings long life. We're told that charity brings long life. We're told that tshuva brings long life. And we're told that a blessing from a holy person brings long life. Also a good doctor. How many people are alive today because of the intervention of a doctor? Now, were they meant to live a long life? Or did the doctor change their fate? He wasn't supposed to live this long, but the doctor did some magical stuff, and now the guy's going to live longer because of the doctor. Obviously, God's plan was for the man to live longer. How? With the help of a doctor. Some people are so lucky they can live longer without the help of a doctor. And that is very fortunate. We should all live long and never need a doctor. Some people will live long because they're going to give tzedakah. Some people will live long because they got a blessing from a holy man or woman. So, does prayer help? Prayer is one of those things that can change your fate. Meaning, it already has changed your fate. God determined that this person would live long because people prayed for him. Now, if we don't pray, we're messing up the plan. Why do some people need people to pray for them and some people can live long without it? I don't know. Why do some people never need a doctor? But these are the 5 things which bring a change in your destiny. But of course, the change is all built in to the original plan. Rabbi Akiva's daughter was supposed to die on her wedding day. She didn't. All the astrologers came and said, "What happened? What did you do to change the plan?" At the wedding festival, the wedding feast, a poor man stood by the door, ashamed to come in. The bride herself went over and invited him in, sat him down, and served him food. And from this we see that charity saves you from death. So was she supposed to die on her wedding day or not? If she was supposed to die on her wedding day, and then she does this great mitzvah, so now her life is extended, and how many changes have to take place? God has to rearrange half the world. Because if she were to die, her husband would have to marry someone else. He would marry someone else. He would have children with her, not with Rabbi Akiva's daughter. Well, those children were never planned because she was so the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, the great-great-grandchildren, all of them have to happen, and they were not planned to happen because she lived. So was there a second wife for him to marry because she was going to die? Now she didn't die. Oh, that poor girl. Now who is she going to marry? And whose children are she? You have to rearrange everything. Obviously, God was not caught by surprise. So if it was destined for her to live a long life, how do you prove that charity saves from death? Charity had nothing to do with it. The answer is she was destined to live a long life because of the charity. But without the charity, she would not live a long life. Same is true with a doctor. You're destined to live long because there will be a good doctor. You're destined to live long because there's a holy person who gave you a blessing. These things have an effect. But all of that is taken into account when God decides your fate. So one thing we do know, and that makes a big difference. No death is ever accidental or without reason. The worst thing that can happen to us is something that was not supposed to happen. If it's possible for something that is not supposed to happen, then life is not livable. We can live with pain, we always have. We can live with tragedy, we always have. But one thing we can't live with is meaningless things happening without a reason, without a cause. That would make us completely crazy. Because if something can happen without any reason, then anything can happen without a reason, and life just doesn't make any sense at all. That will make us crazy. We know that no death, no pain, no frustration, no negative experience ever happened without it being meant to happen. So we still don't know why the righteous suffer. But the fact that we ask the question means we know that it's not an accident. Because if it could be an accident, then what are you asking? Oops, he died. What are you asking? We know that there is no accident. And that's why it is intelligent to say why, to ask why. Because there is an answer. We just don't have the answer. Yesterday I spoke to a group of teenagers. 4,000 teenagers came to Crown Heights for Shabbos. Incredible. They partied and it was incredible. They went for Havdalah at the end of Shabbos. They went to Times Square. And out in public, 4,000 teenagers were making Havdalah, singing Jewish songs. It was, okay. They were all supposed to go home Monday morning. They're stuck. So now we have to feed them. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So I spoke to a group of them yesterday, and I said, you are not stuck. You are on a mission, and you didn't complete your mission. So you're going to stay here until you finish your job. You're not stuck, you're employed. You're partnering with God. Why? Why this way? I don't know why, but I know that there's a reason, and that makes all the difference in the world. To know I'm not stuck, I'm not a victim, I'm not an accident. That's what is really, really important. Pain, we wish it away, but we can handle pain. We do. Tragedy, we handle tragedy. We know how. We know how to grieve. We know how to mourn. We know how to say Kaddish. The one thing we cannot and will not handle is things happening for no reason. Then your whole circuit breaks down and you can't function. So that we do know. We do know that there are no accidents, there are no mistakes. Does it make a difference? It makes a huge difference. It's almost like we ask God, if I have to suffer, I can handle it, but don't confuse me. Don't make life a mystery. I can't handle that. So God assures us that no one ever suffers anything for no reason. That's all we need to know. The rest we can handle.
Rabbi Friedman, amazing and very, very needed. Very needed. I'm sure that everyone needs to have these conversations, and a lot, because that is pretty much the biggest question on everybody's mind these days. Not even about what's going on in the news, but why things are the way they are, because they do seem unjust a lot of the time. So thank you for the clarity.
So the clarity is, we know that it's not unjust. We just don't know why.
Well, hopefully we will find out soon enough, because the question is getting hotter and hotter.
Yeah. Hopefully the pain and the suffering will just stop, and we won't need any more explanations.
I mean, that would be the best thing ever. Rabbi Friedman, thank you so much. Thank you for this time you allocate for us, for the wisdom, for the enlightenment, for the clarity, and for everything you do for everyone every single day of your life. Thank you so much. I'm certain we're not going to see each other next Tuesday because it's Purim, and we're going to be busy listening to the Megillah at our synagogues, and hopefully rejoicing big time. So, Rabbi Friedman, wishing you and your family a very freilich Purim, and of course, good, strong health, and so we can have so much more of your wisdom for many, many years to come. Thank you for everything you do for us. Thank you.
Thank you.